definitely not looking good for the crypto markets. We've seen an absolute full retracement of the entire pump, the move that previously happened off of the Donald Trump tweet. And we did outline the possibility of this taking place yesterday. We spoke about what the area of interest would be if you were looking to get long and why you would want to wait for lower prices. And if you got a bearish engulfing candle, which we now have, what that means next. So we'll talk about this and a whole lot more in today's show. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then feel free to subscribe so you can be brought the notification anytime that we do go live at an infrequent time. So if we have a look over here at the banter bubbles, well, there's the picture, the sea of red. Everything in the top 100 is down. I don't think there's even one single coin that I can see that is up. If you look at the stock market, well, it's not too different. And this has everything to do with, of course, the stock market coming down due to the Trump trade wars, right? So you can see over here what just happened. Dow Jones went from being up 300 points in the open to falling as much as 1,100 points. And it's got to do with the trade wars, right? So everything coming down over here, China, Canada striking back. Trade wars are effectively going live today, right? And that's why we're seeing the prices come down over here. So you can see Bitcoin versus the Chinese, Japanese, and the US stock markets since 2020. And they are very, very correlated, which means if these stock markets go down, what chance does crypto stand, right? But it's not only that. We've been seeing the warning signs for quite some time. We've spoken a lot about it on this particular show, talking about the massive divergences within the space. And the question is, where is the new money going to come from? Where's the retail going to come from? And typically the only place that it could come from is the Fed, right? The Fed pivoting. And we need to see something more drastic happen. You need to see bigger things break within the more traditional markets before you get something like that. So I think it's a massive warning sign. The fact that you are not seeing crypto rally in the face of attempted manipulation from the Trump family trying to get prices to move up, and it's not moving up. That is a very, very, very scary sign. There is, of course, always still a possibility that this wick low is the bottom. We'll talk about it on the lower time frames. The major wick low that we had where Bitcoin dropped down just below $80,000. But you need to see some big things happening today, and I'm very doubtful that that's going to take place. So let's get into it, right? Stock market's down. You can see S&P 500 futures pretty much putting in a full-on bearish engulfing candle, no different to what we're seeing in crypto that is bearish, right? You have over here the QQQ, bearish engulfing candle, putting in a new swing low over there. That is not a good sign. You have the Dow Jones as well. We have NVIDIA. Let's have a look at what NVIDIA's done. NVIDIA coming into the mid-range over here to test a support. I do think there's some big NVIDIA news or conference or something that's coming up soon. We'll update you when relevant, but losing those levels. You had MicroStrategy, which was gapping towards the upside alongside Bitcoin, and then immediately just gave all of that up. You have Coinbase over here as well, coming back down into this trend line. And if this trend line does break, this could easily go back down to about 150, between 150 and 160 would be the major support. And then we even have Tesla struggling to get any momentum or foothold on this fair value gap and move out of this zone, right? It's spending too much time over here. If it continues to spend time over here, Tesla is going to roll over. And I don't think a lot of people are expecting that, right? There is a CME future, or not a CME, but a futures gap over here as well on Tesla between 220 and 237. So that would kind of become one of the next areas of interest if this does start to fall down. There's another small one just slightly above between 255 and 276, right? So the DXY also still coming down over here. This is following a big move up. So interesting to see that crypto and the stock market had such a tough time alongside the DXY also coming down. Usually they trade inverse to one another. So we'll continue to monitor this because this has been putting in lower lows and lower highs in the short term. And we want to see that acceptance gain underneath this level and a proper breakdown here in order to possibly bring some new liquidity, right? But there's too much hopium on the table, right? The hopium has been that, you'll get that extra liquidity and that booster from the DXY breaking down. But that's not a good or healthy place to be in the markets if you're living on those types of hopes and dreams, right? So fear and greed, went from yesterday, I think it was around 30. It was still in the fearful zone, snapped back all the way back down to 15. Previously, it was the day before that, it was 11. So 11 to 30 to 15. I mean, maybe there's a bit of a divergence there in terms of higher lows that it's putting in place over here on the crypto fear and greed index. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, right? And this to me is the biggest problem. $1 billion liquidated once again. Previously, it was a short squeeze. Now it was the longs getting taken out over here with almost the full billion. 858 million of that billion came from longs getting liquidated. And there has just been so many liquidations. This means you need to go through healing, right? How many rounds can the crypto bros last? Getting beaten up left, right, and center. You know, this is like going into 50 rounds against Mike Tyson in his prime, right? Getting absolutely pummeled over here. And that's my concern, is where is the new retail interest going to come from, right? How are new market participants going to come into the market? At this point, even OGs of the space, seasoned traders, are sitting on the sidelines and not wanting to return back to crypto, right? Because it's been absolutely brutal. So I definitely feel you guys, right? As Glenn says, match fixing, right? Match fixing, manipulation within the markets. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the scoreboard, right? And if you don't have an edge to win, well, don't play. Rather sit out, right? You know, if you were given the choice of having to go in against a pro boxer and you have no fighting skills, what's the best thing to do? Do not get in the ring. You're going to get absolutely smashed, right? So you can actually vote over here. I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are. We have a poll. Is the poll still there? Okay, looks like the poll is maybe gone. Okay, we'll move on from that. We don't have the poll anymore. But anyways, let's continue on over here. So following this beating, you know, what could change the morale? What could bring new liquidity into the market? Well, you have Mike Alfred coming out with this breaking. He always has breaking things, though, just for what it's worth. You know, oftentimes they're on point, but his timing might be off significantly. And that's the tricky thing, right? Your timing needs to be on point. Sources say that the Trump administration is preparing to announce zero capital gains on crypto sales at the Friday's crypto summit. I mean, if this happens, it will be big news. But why would it be any different to any of the other things that have taken place in terms of their major announcements, adding crypto, and they even labeled a couple of them in terms of creating a crypto strategic reserve, right? That was big news. Was Bitcoin a strategic reserve? Then suddenly it was a crypto strategic reserve. What bigger bullish indications could you be looking for? Then get faded. And that's a big warning sign, right? If they give up those gains, it shows you that there isn't any real demand in the market. And until prices go to what's deemed more fair value, new demand won't step in, right? So that's my question, is even if they do announce something like this, would it change anything? People are getting dumped on time and time again. I think that the market needs to probably go for an even deeper, longer correction to reaccumulate and then possibly go higher, right? So if you look at what Caleb says over here, it's pretty much exactly this, right? You can't sustain a rally on all of this. SEC cases dropping, Abu Dhabi was buying Bitcoin, Trump getting inaugurated, US crypto strategic reserves, Coinbase reporting rock solid earnings time and time again, MicroStrategy buying billions of dollars of BTC, and price continues to go down. Now, this is often a sign of the top, right? If you do see something like this. Now, it's a little bit too soon for me to preemptively say that absolutely the top is in. This would be one of the shortest cycles that we've seen, where we're about 850 days into the cycle. Typically, these crypto cycles last between 1,000 and 1,100 days. And this would have been a very lackluster cycle, especially in the altcoin sector. Absolute annihilation and wreckage over there. But sometimes things can deviate ever so slightly, and you could get a little bit of a shock factor, a little bit of a shorter cycle. So you have to open up the possibility that that is something that could be happening. And I absolutely 100% know that people do not want to hear this, right? Because I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks, and the views just keep going lower and lower and lower and lower. Whereas people that preach the bullish juice hopium, the views go up and up and up, right? I understand, because it's an emotional thing. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear what makes them feel good. And that probably doesn't make you feel so good. But it's a reality, right? It's better to be honest than lied to. So that is the honest truth. The honest truth is there's always a possibility that this was the top of the wave 5 count, Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pretty crystal clear, end of cycle, right? Now, I don't want to say that that's the case. I'm still subscribing to the 1,000 to 1,100 day crypto cycle, which would put an end, somewhere between October, November is the penultimate time that I'm looking for, at least for a cycle top. But at the end of the day, the current price action is definitely bearish. Literally look at the candles before you. That is your monthly chart, right? You've had a straight rejection off of the trend line. If you look at this on the daily time frame, you'll see that trend line over there. And I'll go over the bullish case as well, but you need to see bulls strike very, very, very soon to keep that hope alive. Otherwise, alternatively, if you're a cautious individual, I covered it at length yesterday, just wait. Simply just wait and rather buy a little bit higher. Yesterday, I tried to be a bit of a Rambo move and, go a little bit more aggressive at trying to get into that 86 to 88K level. Again, trying to keep the bullish hope alive. It failed. Bearish engulfing candle, right? We're going to have a look at that now. So price came down. Point is, this can turn ugly. This can easily drop down all the way down into the 60 zone. That's another 25% drop. If you do look at the move from the top over here down into that box, that would be about a 43% move. Theoretically, you could still have a bull market even in that environment. And I actually outlined the case for this, which I was looking for that to actually occur over the time period of about May, sell in May and go away. Maybe this has been a more like sell in February, March and go away, and it's being front run, but it would look something like this, right? Theoretically, you could still have a move down into the zone over here, have a longer term reaccumulation, and then run up later towards the end of the year and have another peak, right? At the end of the day, I think it makes much more sense to adopt a trader's mindset as opposed to a longer term buy and hold strategy, right? Where you're holding a long-term portfolio at this phase of the market cycle. Now, also when it comes to Elliott waves, this typically you don't have wave 5 longer than wave 3. I know that they say that if you're trading commodities, which crypto was a security, then it was a risk on asset, then it was gold 2.0, and now they're treating it like a commodity. You can have a very extended wave 5, right? So you would want to see bulls strike very, very soon if this wave 5 is going to continue like that, right? You would want them to strike soon. The point is, I covered this with the Whale School members last night. And what I spoke about specifically was that you got to admit that you're at least halfway. If you're not at the end of this wave 5 count on the Elliott wave, which marks the end of the cycle, you're at least halfway through. Like, you got to admit that, probably even 2/3 of the way through, which means you only have about 33 to maximum 50% left if this does really extend further, which means you are definitely later on in the cycle, right? We've seen the bearish divergences. We've covered it over here. And now you can see you're starting to come back down lower and lower. This is where I tried to step in for an attempted long trade over here. Of course, I'm out of that trade already, but I was looking at this zone over here, right about that 50% of the wick. Now, if this candle does turn green, crazy things have happened in a week. Look at how quickly the price action changed from on Saturday morning. Price action was trading all the way down here at about $78,000. By Sunday evening, so Sunday morning, we're trading down here. Sunday evening, we're trading back above $95,000. Absolutely insane, right? The crypto manipulation is the thing. They can manipulate the price higher, and that manipulation can lead into a real move, right? It's possible, but it's unlikely. Crypto manipulation very rarely can sustain the move. It can create knee-jerk reactions, quick snaps in either direction, but it can't sustain the move if there's not real demand. You have to have real demand. And the bearish divergence is over here to tell you that right now there hasn't been demand. The demand is weaning off, right? Price has been floating up higher, but the RSI continues to trend lower. Sentiment also continues to trend lower. So this is the reality that we find ourselves in, right? Yes, you've had a full reset on the stochastic RSI. That's all good and well, but it's only relevant if we can start to break back above the breakdown level, which is now, that $96,000 zone. If you want to play it safe, $100,000, literally just wait for $100,000, right? If Bitcoin can sustain above $100,000, then you can say the shakeout is complete. Things are safer to be in, and you can look at the market floating onwards and upwards, and maybe then Bitcoin moves to $130,000, $150,000. From $100,000, you do the math, that's 30 to 50% move versus trying to catch the falling knife now, and your next major support is 25% down. That's not a great risk to reward ratio, right? If you think of it in terms of risk to reward, you're looking to lose a lot of money. It's better to wait for the reclaim of those high levels, and that's going to be the safer play. Yesterday, we saw the CME gap, right? First, we had the CME gap over here. It took a while to fill this one. Price eventually came back in, tagged it into this, $80,000 region. That was filled. Then we printed the CME gap in the green box over here, and look what happened, right? Price came back, but straight through the CME gap. You didn't want to see that. You wanted to see price at least hold above the previous quarterly mid-range, and it went straight through, right? So that's a bearish sign. You have a rejection of the trend line over here. The bearish retest into the point of control. Like we covered yesterday, I told you, don't FOMO into the position. This is exactly where a lower high would be found, was at the 0.786 fib as well to the tick, right? And bearish engulfing candle straight down, right? Now, again, you can look for your last bit of demand to come in, you know, around this zone over here, which is why this is really a do or die situation if you're targeting 50% of this daily wick. But the weekly looks shocking, right? But if you could see something like this and a little bit of pressure build up, that'll be looking good. If you come back for this wick low over here, very, very, very bearish unless, this is the keyword, very bearish unless you sweep down and then you reclaim back into the $77,000 region, meaning you get a deviation. If you get that deviation, you know, fine, fair and well, then we can start to, again, attempt a little bit of a scalp long towards the upside over there, looking for a bounce. But otherwise, you know, if you take this out and you hold underneath here, you're going much lower. That means that you can put the whole bull market at risk, as we have shown already over here when we look at these things, bearish divergences, the Elliott wave count as well, which is currently playing out over there. So from bearish engulfing candles on the daily to bullish engulfing candles on the daily for the USDT dominance, this makes it look like it also wants to go higher. Bitcoin dominance, massive bullish engulfing candle over there, meaning your altcoins are getting absolutely obliterated over there. But we are at support, right, in terms of the 200 moving average. But I have told you as well, the 200 moving average has become a bit more of a meme within the crypto cycles, because you can see nowadays we do tend to spend a lot of time below it. The good news is it's still angled towards the upside, right? So that's, again, additional bit of hopium. So really one of your best case scenarios and your last line of defense is to see something like this. The problem is when we, again, go back to this type of a tweet and you look at all of these things that have taken place, which fundamentally, if it was a bull market, should have pumped price, and it's not, well, that's a warning sign, right? That is a warning sign. So you have to be slightly more cautious here than not. If you are even bullish, you have to be very, very, very cautiously bullish. And you need to be playing a defensive game, right? Because bears are undoubtedly in absolute control over here, right? It takes manipulation to take price up. But what happens as soon as the hype dies down? Immediately price bleeds through, right? That literally shows you there are simply no buyers. You need to wait for buyers to step in and sellers to get exhausted. Where's that David Goggins meme, right? David Goggins running. The sellers are getting exhausted. Then just put the David Goggins image in your mind. The sellers are not getting exhausted. The sellers have been training with David Goggins. They do not get tired, right? Low time frame, I've been looking at this as well. You can see in terms of the aggregate funding rate, every time it goes slightly negative, there has been small little reliefs, like little bounces over here and there, right? So as price grinds down over here, you know, if you see on a low time frame, for those of you DJs out there, as you watch price come down towards about 81K again, if you start to see the funding flip negative down here, you know, watch for a little bit of relief over there, maybe a little bit of a bounce. You might get a short-term trade opportunity over there. And then I guess anything met with a lower high is a place to reload on these short trades. If you do want to take these leverage trades, guys, you know, check out Blofin. That's probably one of my favorite exchanges to trade on, because you get 50% cash back, right? So massive savings over there. Use the link below. There's no KYC, meaning you don't have to give any of your personal information out. And they have Fireblock security, which means they don't custody their own funds. It's a third party and it's rock solid safe, right? Okay, cool. So that is the Bitcoin thought process and analysis. Now, if Bitcoin does continue to drop, you know, ETH BTC is once again at risk of making new lows. This looks absolutely atrocious and very, very similar to Bitcoin. You don't really want to hang out around these lower levels. Like, we mark out the inefficiency of the big wicks over there, like we did with the white line running across the screen at 0.0253. And that is essentially your 50% level. We tagged it. We got a reaction off it. Beautiful. You want to see that reaction lead to follow through and prices to continue towards the upside. Did it lead to follow through? Absolutely not. The next week, straight back down, right? And that's my concern when you look at Bitcoin on the weekly scale, is that that's exactly what you're going to see, right? You wanted to see follow through. We're not seeing follow through. Instead, you're bleeding through towards this wick over here. And the weekly chart definitely scares me with your next major support. You know, well, you'll get a little bit of a fair value gap. We did cover all those fair value gaps on the daily. I'll mark it out very quickly for you. You know, this is where you are going to find your next support. So let's quickly mark this out over here. There we go. Next support is going to be coming in into this zone over here. There we go. That is around $72,500. You also have support from the volume area over here. So there is volume support leaning into that area as well as low $68,000. But at that point, you've basically given up the entire election run, right? The election rally, which we had a bullish bias leading into that, suggesting that what we've witnessed is every single election phase, the stock market tends to pump. And in the short existence that we've had crypto does the same thing alongside that presidential inauguration where Trump comes in and everything. And you'd be giving all of that up, everything. You've already almost fully retraced that. So if you start to take out this low, that's your last line of defense is going to be coming into this zone over here around that 72,500-ish level, right? And then you can look for an opportunity over there. Tight stop loss slightly below. I also did speak about this was an obvious trade. We took it actually live on the show on Friday at the exact low. And we spoke about the obvious place where people would be placing their stop losses, which would be down here. And that might be what they're coming for. They might be coming for those stop losses, right? So, mentally prepare, right? Mentally prepare. This is the case. Now, let's talk about, where do you get bullish again, right? Because, of course, you have to look at things from both sides. Where do you get bullish again? Right now, I don't see the potential for a Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic over here. That was part of the poll that we ran. You can always let me know in the comments. The poll's off now, but let me know in the comments, is this reaccumulation or is this distribution? What do you think? Reaccumulation or distribution? Let me know. Reaccumulation, for those of you that have never heard the word, means that buyers are controlling price action and they're busy buying back again. Or is it distribution where smart money is busy exiting the market because they see something else coming? Which one do you think it is? For me to see reaccumulation, I want to see, a little bit of a capitulation candle, which this was that candle, but it wasn't met with high enough volume. That's the problem. I wanted to see very, very high volume relative to this entire trading range and then to snap back in the range. Now, did we snap back into the range? Yes, we did. We got that perfect candle over there. And then you got a bearish engulfing candle, which means that you tested this back again as resistance. You came in to check it. Hey, is this support or is it resistance? And you got your answer. It is resistance. It rejected bearish engulfing candle and you came straight back down. And as you can see, once again, apathy within the market, no volume. It suggests that you probably are going to continue to bleed down lower, right? It's a real possibility. Now, if this does start to turn a corner and get back up, I just told you, where does our or at least our invalidation on the short side or our validation on the long side come into play? The validation on the long side, we've been riding this down ever since here. That was our first get back bullish. If it gets back above there, we get bullish, right? Then we moved it down, right? Then we came into this zone over here. Get back above there, it becomes bullish. Then we had it over here. Get back above here, it becomes bullish. Price came down. Did it get back above? No, check and fail. Now it's going to be this zone, right? Get back above here, and then we can start to entertain the possibility that things are once again getting bullish, which means you need to get back above that breakdown level. Anyone that's short over there, I believe your shorts are very, very comfy and safe within that region, right? So that is the current picture. Yes, as Dog Poop says, all bad news. It is bad news. It is bad news, at least if you're a bull. If you are a bear, you're fine. Again, I want to say, because we have this Punisher 530. Interesting bunch of names over here. Punisher 530, worst bull market ever. Well, it has been a pretty good bull market for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's done 7x off the lows with a growing larger asset class that becomes safer to buy at the lows, whereas prior cycle lows, we didn't know if crypto would survive. This low that we had at 15,500 after the FTX collapse, we knew that crypto is here to stay. So it's actually a pretty safe 7x return. But with that being said, I'm not suggesting that we go in for 70-80% correction and a long multi-year bear market. I think that this would be something more similar to what we saw. I think it was back in 2017. Let's quickly go back there. 2019, where you essentially had this mini bear market, right? It would have been this period over here. You could be more in this environment where, price started to get ready to go on a massive rally. Of course, in this instance, it's different in the sense that we have already made all-time highs, but I'd be looking more for something like this, right? You went in for deeper correction, reloaded, and then you still had the parabolic advancement. But this is not reason enough. This is simply just a little bit of a hunch. because altcoins haven't run. We didn't see any of the extreme euphoric signs. We had some euphoria, but not the extreme euphoria that we've seen in the price cycles. And therefore, I still at least open up the possibility that you might have one more leg up, right? But it's not excuse enough to continue to just hold through all the pain, right? You definitely need to be careful. So let's have a look at some of the other market caps. Total 1, 2, 3, others, total 3 against Bitcoin, and then others against Bitcoin, literally just to showcase you know, the super guppy indicator, which is the EMA ribbons, the trend. It's a trend trading indicator, which is now fully red. As you can see, it's turned into a bearish signal. You had the pump up, back tested, bearish engulfing candle, smack it back down, right? Let's go into total 2, pump up, bearish engulfing candle, smack it back down, right? Not good, not good, not good. Total 3, a big pump up above the top of the ribbon over there, bearish engulfing candle, smack it back down again, absolute annihilation. Others, same thing, right? Look at the size of this red candle, because others is more risk on the table. Low market cap coins, more risk over there. Total 3 measured against Bitcoin, bearish engulfing candle. Others measured against Bitcoin, hardly even got any pump. It was just straight down all along, right? So complete annihilation in that sector over there, right? So we can have a look at some of the altcoins. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin today. I think probably the next bit of hopium that I'll give you is going to be, again, just watch the stock market, right? Because Bitcoin is unfortunately going to trade in accordance with the stock market, especially under this, you know, all this trade war stuff. While there's a lot of risk on the table, whatever the stock market is doing is what Bitcoin is going to do at a higher magnitude, right? Okay, so, you know, ETH all the way back down, taking out those wick lows. Again, I don't want to like absolutely freak you out, but you know, your next level of support over here, if this marks down, is 1,750, and thereafter you're talking about 1,500, right? 1,400, 1,500. This is pretty brutal. It's starting to look like, I mean, this is Ethereum. This is Ethereum, and Ethereum is starting to look like an absolute illiquid altcoin, right? That does things like that. It's been absolutely brutal, right? Solana, I mean, how absolutely crazy is this? Solana just yesterday was trading at $180, right? And today it's down to $137. This is, I haven't seen such a big coin unravel this quickly. If you're talking about Solana, look at how quick this thing unraveled. I mean, this was a number of days, right? So $295 down, all the way down to 57% within 40 days, in 1 month, right? I still think that based on this bearish engulfing candle over here, the most likely outcome on Solana is that you sweep below this 120, right? I'd be looking for something like that. So I'm not here to step in front of this anytime soon, right? I'm looking for much more strength within the market. You know, Sonic, Phantom or Sonic, I really wanted to see this hold the 50% level right over here, and it failed it, right? It didn't hold that 50% level. When you look at this on the daily, you know, it's looking really, really bad. If it starts to take out this low, you're easily going to move all the way back down to about 38 cents over there. So very, very risky game being in the altcoins at the moment. What else have we got? Let me know in the comments if there's anything else. While we wait for that, I do also want to remind you to keep your account secure, right? We had the update now from Ben. So this is essentially what happened with these hacker funds. Remember the $1 billion hack that they had? He said 4.25 executive summary on the hacker funds. Total hacked funds was 1.4 billion, $500,000 worth of ETH. 77% of those ETH are traceable. 20% has gone dark, and 3% has been frozen, right? So it seems like they mostly use Thorchain to clear ETH into BTC. They're obviously looking at this chart over here. So very, very smart hackers. They obviously know what they're doing. So move from ETH into BTC over there for the stronger play. And a lot of it went through these XCHCX, right? Still waiting for an update over here. It went through the X channel. You have over here also OKX, Web3 proxy. A lot of the coins moved through there. And then you had the help from the what was it, 𝗥𝗡 and them. There were like 3 guys that helped them. Let me just see where that was. 3 guys that have helped them. Here it is. You got Mantle, Paraswap, and 𝗥𝗡. So 11 parties helped to freeze the funds. These guys are getting $2.1 million worth of USDT as a bounty. So they'll get more if they can find the rest and freeze the rest of those funds. So if that's you out there and you know how to freeze funds, find funds and freeze them, go for it. You can help them out. For the rest of you, I really recommend get yourself a NordVPN. It's small stuff, but helps to protect you. It's only $3 a month. There is a link in the description below over there. Stay safe online. I always keep mine on, as I know people are trying to hack me. Okay. Also, Sol BTC, broke back down below the bottom of the trading range, back tested into the top side of the trading range off of that big pump on the Trump news and straight bearish engulfing candle rejection. This is measuring Solana against Bitcoin, right? Which now drastically increases the chances that this is about to lead into distribution, right? Towards the downside. Okay, what else? What else? We can have a look at some of the others. Alts against BTC. Let's see how is SUI doing against Bitcoin. So also bleeding through, right? Bleeding through, not looking good. I'm obviously not in this trade. I'm going to close that out over there, but probably going to move back down into the mid-range. The way that it's hanging around over here, you would have wanted to see follow through very quickly following that initial wick if this was going to lead to high prices. So now you have to treat this as more range bound, and I'd be looking for this to float down towards 2,500 Satoshis over there. For SUI measured against Bitcoin. Okay, Link BTC, how's this one doing? Terrible, right? Absolutely terrible, just bleeding straight through, downtrend over there, not looking good. We can look at Litecoin against Bitcoin over there. So this one's, attempting to turn a corner. You can see you got the bullish crossover here between the 50 and 200. Yeah, man, it is holding that. It's starting to put in slowly but surely higher highs and high lows. One of the dino coins that I guess you can put on your watch list. I think the reason for this is that a lot of the people are viewing this as a US made coin, and they think it's one of the most likely next up and comers to get a spot ETF. But remember, if you get a spot ETF, it doesn't mean much because the only ETF that's really bought any meaningful inflows is Bitcoin. They already approved the spot ETF for Ethereum, and look at what it's done for that. Nothing, right? Absolutely smashed it. Fanta measure against Bitcoin. Look, holding up over here. We spoke about this, potential falling wedge, but at the end of the day, it's still a downtrend of low lows and lower highs. You are finding support over there on the 50 MA on the daily time frame. So we'll see if that elicits anything. Injective against Bitcoin, getting absolutely clobbered, straight downtrend, straight distribution, marking down very quickly. Say against Bitcoin, smash. Cardano against Bitcoin obviously had the huge move up. Let's quickly zoom in over here. So this was one that we actually got right, believe it or not, but giving up a lot of those gains, right? So you want to see it hold around this exactly where it is now. You don't want to take out that low. That's maintaining about equilibrium at 50% of that big abnormal candle. And then if you are in Cardano against BTC, you'd want to see that start to move up. AVAX against BTC, look at that, straight down, absolutely terrible, full on distribution, not looking good. This just re-emphasizes the importance of looking at your favorite coins measured against Bitcoin, right? Casper against BTC, look at that. Shocking, right? Terrible. You might not lose that much money in USD values, but if you're measuring your portfolio against Bitcoin, this is pretty brutal. When you started to lose the trading range over here, it was just straight markdown. It's looking like a meme coin. So let's see, Mantra against BTC, pretty much one of the only ones that's still maintaining an uptrend, although it is slowly starting to show weakness over here. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. All right. What else, guys? What else? Let's see. We can have a look at a few more coins. Also, I gave this full analysis. If you do want all the info, pretty much most of what I've covered in the show over here with all the various different charts. If you want them, they are there in Whale Room under the Captain's Take section. We do have a bunch of other traders in here that are constantly, making money. If you want to make money both up and down, this is what I'm talking about. I don't think that this is really a long-term hodlers market, but more traders market. So if you want to be in a place with traders, for traders, well, Whale Room is the place to be. Use the link in the description below over there. Make sure that you jump in. And Whale School is free, right? Whale School is completely free. All right, let's go into a couple more altcoin requests. I think Bitcoin is the most important thing to be keeping your eye out on. If Bitcoin shows any strength, that's probably the time to pivot to look for higher beta plays in the altcoin sector for quick movers. Let's see what Mantra has done in amongst all of this. So Mantra theoretically coming into the support zone because we spoke about this as a key area of support, right? It's the mid-level of that abnormal candle. It's your fair value gap retest. I said if you do see a quick move into this on Mantra, you know, and that holds as a high low. That would be the only place that I'd be looking to allocate with a tight stop below. If you break below and you stop this trade out on a long, well, then you can start to look for much more high time frame, bigger distribution on this particular chart. All right, 𝗓𝗓𝗡. Let's have a look at 𝗓𝗓𝗓 USDT. Okay, so it's definitely been a bit of a different market, a tough market for the altcoins this cycle. There's just not been enough liquidity to flow into the altcoins, right? It feels like the only reason we've had a bull run is because of the ETF buying and the institutional interest on Bitcoin, but there hasn't been any retail interest, right? That's why the altcoins aren't really moving, because the institutions don't have interest in the altcoins. So it's just bled straight through. I mean, guys, this is full on bear market kind of stuff, right? I mean, you're talking about 86% down. That's full bear market stuff. Like, I mean, what did this one do? This one obviously did a bit more, but 96%, like it's really not far off. This has been brutalized, right? So major support, next level of interest, $6, right? $6. Maybe you find a little bit of a bounce within that region over there. All right. Let's see. What else, guys? Most retail does not have money. Absolutely, they don't. Yeah, no, times are tough. Absolutely. I think that's why you're seeing these things struggle. So it's definitely about capital preservation. There's always going to be a market. Don't rush it. Protect your capital as long as you can. Rather wait for confirmation of high prices. You know, let's see, like AI16Z. Look at the behemoth pump that this thing had, and it's just given up all of that and more, right? 88% down, 88%. Can you believe it? And I told you this is what leads into that depression phase, right? You can expect it will take a while, bit of a ranging market, possibly even one more sweep below the range, taking it down about 99%. And then if you reclaim the trading range, only then maybe, if you're lucky, that will start to run. So that's AI16Z, the AI narratives. I definitely think, you know, don't get too caught up and hyped into narratives when it comes to crypto. You're going to get crushed. I think trading the narrative in the short term is fine, but adopting a buy and hold strategy into a narrative will kill you. You'll lose all your money. Do not do it. All right, Beam. Gaming sector is going to be obliterated as well, right? We can have a look at Beam. And I'm interested to see this because Beam was one of the strongest of those coins, right? During the March period where things were doing well, you know, Beam was one of the most promising ones. But there it is, right? Look at that chart. It is absolutely smashed. Double top over there. It looked like it had the potential for a cup and handle formation, but of course, dismally failed that. And from top to bottom, you know, 83%, 84% down. This thing has been annihilated. I mean, I can't really even give you a level over here. It's just straight down. What I would say is, though, what you need to do is you need to wait for reclaims before you even get one tidbit interested. And even if you did, if you reclaimed that 0.009179, I'm not really sure why you would buy it, because it will still take a very long time to range, reaccumulate, and then move up. You want to be where the interest is, where the volume is, where the liquidity is, right? If there's high volume, there's probably high liquidity, and that makes for good short-term trading. So yeah, that's exactly what's happened over here in the space. Rune, you know, let's see, Rune, we spoke about this. This is, even though they're using it, it's a protocol that works clearly. Look at what we just covered, right? Thought-chain, that is Rune. You know, clearing the ETH into BTC over there. Cross-chain protocol, decentralized, fully decentralized, you know, allows for those kind of things. But that doesn't mean just because it's an amazing protocol that has great use case that the price will go up, right? Remember, most of these tokens, there isn't really a real use case for. They try and give it utility by saying that you need it for gas fees or for whatever, right, to initiate the transaction. But the only thing that really has a use case right now, in my opinion, is, well, there are some good layer ones, so fair enough, we'll go with that. But otherwise, Bitcoin, right? That's why Bitcoin is Bitcoin continues to outperform all these altcoins. So Rune coming down. Okay. All right. What else? Okay, we've covered, say, I don't know if we covered on the USD pair. Let's just quickly look at SUI. So SUI, you know, bleeding all the way through. I would expect this to probably hit into that 220. So it's on its way to 220. If it sweeps through and finds support at about like 190, 198, and then reclaims that 220, that might look okay. Say, it was the one that you asked for. Let's quickly go to say. So say against USD, you know, bled all the way through. This is something that's dropped. There it is, 70%. So I would expect it's going to sweep this level, right? It's probably going to mark all the way down to about 14 cents. Hype, also straight down, right? A lot of people fundamentally believe hype under $20 is a great buy, but I would argue that I'd rather wait for the reclaim, right? If it is marking down, I'd rather wait for some sort of a reclaim and get a tighter invalidation and a trade opportunity on this. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that is, we can go on the 4-hour time frame. We just don't have too much to work with on this chart in terms of, you know, price history. That's the only problem. Not much price history over here. I guess I'll throw that out over there. That's all that I can look at next is about that 1282. Okay, all right. What else, guys? ENA, let's have a look at ENA. Anything interesting on ENA, USDT? ENA, where's ENA? Okay, let's go ENA spot. We'll take the Bybit chart. Okay, are we on daily? Brutal as well, right? Giving up everything. Straight downtrend, strong downtrend. I don't think that any of you have any business in stepping into one of these downtrends, buying this, but you know, let me just clean that up. For what it's worth, let's use something a little bit more tight. There is a little bit of support over here, right? I think that I'd probably treat this as the main support, kind of one of your last lines in the sand. And if it continues to move into a strong downtrend alongside Bitcoin, I would expect that level to get tagged, which means it could do another 23% down. Possibly if it sweeps through, that's about 30% from here. But look, guys, this has been expected. Remember, we did speak about this. I'll go back to this chart over here and show it to you. Wait, let me find it. I have it on this one. Let's quickly pull this through. Okay, so we'll look at this. This is, I mean, you can see this is not looking good, right? It's definitely not looking good over here. Let's quickly pull the crypto list out. Let's go to others measured against Bitcoin. And this is one of the things that we spoke about. We said well in advance that if this trend line doesn't hold, right, others against Bitcoin could easily drop all the way down there. That's like 40% against Bitcoin. That doesn't mean the USD pair will drop 40%, right? Maybe the USD pair drops 30%, but Bitcoin only drops like, you know, 10 or 15% during that downturn. And that would allow for the ratio of others against BTC to drop down 45% all the way down to that level. So I still think a little bit preemptive and soon to get too allocated into altcoins yet. We're waiting for a couple of things from the Fed, right? Pulse X has definitely not outperformed Bitcoin. You know, please just look at the chart. Any of us can look at that. I know that there's a very passionate Richard Hart community, but let's just be honest with ourselves. I know because I got into the seed round of this, and my position is still down 70% after 4.5 years. So please do not say that this thing outperformed Bitcoin. There's absolutely no way. There is your chart measured against Bitcoin. It's straight down. And we can look at Pulse as well measured against Bitcoin. Since you guys want to bring it up, there's Pulse Chain measured against Bitcoin. Straight down. I mean, do you want to say that this chart's lying? Straight down. Okay, what else? What else, guys? Tau. Let's have a look at Tau. Okay, let's go to Tau over there, USDT. Okay, AI sector. Straight down, right? So failed all these areas over here. I definitely need to clean this chart up a bit. Let's just quickly remove some of this stuff. There we go. All right. So range low. This is your major range low. It's probably going to sweep that. Very, very similar to Ethereum, right? Ethereum's already taken out that wick low over there. It's probably going to sweep below this $230 region, right? 230. Okay, Brett, I can have a look at Brett. Same thing, right? Smash straight through. This was the moment of truth coming into key support, falling wedge. You wanted to see this breakthrough. It didn't. It bled straight through this region. This is what charts look like when, you know, there's just no liquidity. No one's come back into the market. And most of these meme coins are going to look the same. Let's look at Butthole. Remember, that was once upon a time absolutely flying. Also killed. Let's have a look at Bonk. How's Bonk doing? I wonder how the bonk guy is doing. The bonk guy I know he's probably still up because I think he got in like really early, somewhere down here. But he had that $10 million leverage trade position on the table. I don't know if that was his profit at one point was $10 million, and he refused to trade it because he said he's going to be the first guy or something to make like 100 million or billion or something like that. Ultimately, I mean, he's probably still in profit, but yeah, this is not looking good. This could easily come down to about 939, right? 939 over there. All right, cool, guys. Look, that's it. If you want more information, jump into Whale Room. I'll be there to chat with you guys later on today. We'll be doing a live session. I'll also go and try and answer all of your questions. I know you have the Ask the Team section. That's it from me. I'll see you all on the next one. I hope you have a lovely day, everyone, and cheers for now.